Jason Verrett last week after his interception, he said something that it reminded me of you after the Rams game, where you kind of baited that pick and you were in position due to film study, but he didn't expand any further on that. I'm wondering what Jason Verrett did on that pick against Washington to be able to set himself up for it.
Well, it was a position where he had a tough down. He had two threats, and I think Alex thought he could get it through. He thought that Verrett was leaning one way, and he wasn't. His body position was one way, and he really gave himself a chance to make the play. He also made an incredibly athletic play on the ball. I mean, you got to give him credit where it's due. He technically played two routes on the play and made a play on the second route, which was the harder one to make. You know, if he would have had to, if Alex would have threw it to the inside seam, he would have folded in and probably been able to get a PBU. But he threw it to the outside, thinking Jason couldn't reroute in time, and he was wrong. And it was a cool play.
Hi, Richard.
Hey,
Robert was just in there, and he was saying that Fred Warner is the best by far middle linebacker in the game. Mike McCarthy said the same thing yesterday. What is it about his third year that has made, I guess, his play be more viewed by people outside the building?
well, I think it was viewed last year. You know, I think it was just, some people just want to see you do it again. And he played really outstanding last year, especially down the stretch. Probably from like week 5 until he was probably one of the best linebackers in football. And then he played all the way through the Super Bowl and played a freaking fantastic game in the Super Bowl. And I think it gave him the confidence coming into this year that he could be the best linebacker in football. And he's played with confidence, and he's played with detailed tenacity each week. He knows exactly where plays are going. He has great command of the defense, great command of his men, and so he deserves everything that he has coming his way. Hopefully the voters recognize him in the Pro Bowl, and the AP writers recognize him for All Pro because he deserves it.
Richard, I have a Brandon Aiyuk question for you. Just as somebody who knows so much about receivers throughout the league, I want to ask you about his trajectory and where you think he is right now, maybe in comparison to some of the notable, I guess, elite guys. Is he on that trajectory in your viewpoint, and how much further do you think he has to go, maybe to become one of those perennial, I don't know, Pro Bowl guys?
It's consistency. The thing about those guys that makes them special is that everybody knows the ball's coming to them. Everybody knows that they're the guy that's getting the ball, and they're still productive. They still have 10 catches for 150, or and everybody's game planted for them. Everybody knows all their moves. They know every route they like to run. They're studying them year in and year out, and they're still productive. So it's hard to really, really gauge that right now. I think he's playing fantastic. He's having a really good rookie season. I expect him to continue that. I expect him to continue to blossom. But it's always hard to really, project based off the first year, but he's having a really great first year, and I think he should be celebrated, and, it should be recognized.
Hey, Richard, you are about to presumably enter contract negotiations for the second time as an agent. Have you, do you feel like you've grown as an agent, or is it in any way similar to a football player? You develop and you grow to learn things, or kind of what you went into, what you had in 2018 and what you learned is kind of what you need to know, if that makes sense.
It's constant evolution, and it's also evolution of the league, evolution of who I am as a player. That year I was coming off an Achilles. Hadn't played the last 9 games. I literally was still on, in a boot, and wasn't 100%. This year it'll be different circumstances. Obviously, I'm coming out a lot more healthy than I was coming into there. It'll be a different conversation, but just like everything else, you learn with experience, and that experience taught me a lot, good and bad, things to look for, things to really pay attention to, and I look forward to the next one, being better.
Hey, Richard, a non-football question. I know you do a lot for charity. When you first got to Arizona, you had mentioned that being there kind of limited what you were able to do back in the Bay Area and other places. Has that been the case being in Arizona? How frustrating, if so, that you're not able to reach out to the communities like you used to?
It's really frustrating. I mean, my wife, and tons of credit to her. She's working her butt off to do a lot of work still, doing holiday giveaways, doing fundraisers, and really helping a ton of people this holiday season. And she was unboxing and boxing things yesterday, by herself. And, our foundation still has some help with Eric and her dad, Raymond. But at the end of the day, she's really still, taking every time out of her day, time every day to make sure, regardless of the circumstances, that people have help. And she's out in Seattle right now, so we're still able to do some stuff out there. I don't have anybody in the Bay, and with the restrictions in California, it's really tough to have somebody, with all, if you have something and you give it to somebody, it's just too risky. And in Seattle, it's a little easier to maneuver things, and get things out to people that need them. But it's really been tough, and it's really been frustrating, just because you know how many people are struggling out there mentally and physically, financially, and you want to go out there and you know that you're in a position to be able to give back, be able to help people, and it's not always easy. You have GoFundMe's and things, but sometimes those are scams and the money never goes where it's supposed to go. So a lot of times our foundation literally goes out and physically buys the things that people need and hands it to them, and we're not able to do that in the Bay Area. And my wife's been able to do that in Seattle. So that's been really cool.
Two more, please.
Richard, Kyle Juszczyk is a finalist for the Rooney Sportsmanship Award. Can you just talk a little bit about him as a teammate and why you feel he'd be deserving of that award?
Juice is fantastic, man. He's a pro's pro. He's a guy that comes to work every day. He does things the right way. He goes out there and competes his butt off. Plays really a thankless job and goes out there, and does whatever is asked. If they're telling him to go on kickoff, they're telling him to go on punt return, whatever the case may be, he goes out there and he executes the job at a high level. And he also does things off the field, making sure that his teammates are okay, making sure that guys are prepared, guys are mentally in a great spot, and I think those are the things that go unnoticed or unseen, but I'm grateful to see him being recognized for such an award because he deserves it.
Richard, it seems like as guys come into the league, they learn almost the hard way how to take care of their bodies and get better. Is that something that you see as a progression that happens maybe in year 2 or year 3, that you have to learn how to take care of your body and really focus on that to sustain your health throughout an entire season?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, because it's just hard because you've played the game for so long. And so, a lot of the times guys come in, they're like, hey, I know my body and I know how quick I bounce back. And they've never played an NFL season, 16 games, sometimes 19 if you make it to a Super Bowl, 19 if you play in the preseason, et cetera, et cetera. And so after the first year, they usually have a better gauge and a better understanding that, hey, I need to do more. And that's when they usually ask more questions. They inquire more about what they should be doing. They start to talk to more of the veteran players because they want to last longer. They start to feel the ins and outs, the pains, the nicks and bruises that they aren't familiar with feeling. And, you realize that the best ability in this game is availability. And if you're not available to play, then you can never go out there and really show your true talent. So I think, yeah, year 2, year 3, guys usually start to figure it out.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.